Hey everybody, Kale here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do a Taurus season tarot reading. And this is something I'd like to start doing for each sign for each season. So I know we've got Taurus season well underway. Alas, we're still in it, so we're gonna do it. Okay, and we're gonna take it a little bit old school today actually, and work with a templated spread that Sasha provides in the back of the guidebook. So I use the Tarot of the Witch's Garden, and this is Secrets of the Witch's Garden, which is the companion guide. And it's by Sasha Graham and Nataša Ilínčíć. So big fan of this deck. Okay, so before we dive in to the tarot reading itself, I did do a channeled message first. Okay, and so I'm gonna reshare that with you. So bear with me as I kind of go back through what was happening there. And so when I had closed my eyes, the first thing that came was like me in a bedroom and kind of holding this music box, or like looking at this music box with this, ballerina, and I think initially not moving, and then it started to move, and then rather quickly turned into more of like a Disney animation. So we went from more like real life into this animation, and it's like I got pulled into her world, and there it's like she's moving and it's magical and just like super just super active and engages me into this dance. And it's kind of this world of kind of this elegant kind of like party ball dancing situation. Very whimsical, very light, definitely giving like fairy energy. And even the phrase like, I do believe in fairies, I do, came in just like from Peter Pan and Hook, like that, the Robin Williams live action movie with that, like action, what, yeah, I don't know. That was all in there. And there was this, like, the energy of belief is a phrase that like really made itself known early on in the channeled message, in that visual. And also the specific scene from Hook, it was giving very Peter Pan energy. And the specific scene from Hook where Peter, Robin Williams, is with the Lost Boys, and it's the meal scene where they like manifest that super amazing extravagant meal through belief. And so yeah, it was that. And so again, there was this invitation to another world. And as it kind of neared the end, there was this kind of going back to reality, out of that seemingly like dream state into that, out of that animation. And she's back in the box, and it's slow, like then like not moving, and it's like this kind of feeling of like going to bed. And even though it's like daylight out, like, so maybe I'm taking a nap, but I get up and like there's a bit of a sadness in a way, kind of like, oh, it's over, and then go into the bed and to sleep. And then it's like my eyes are shut, and then like she appears, like in the larger form that she was in, that ballerina was in, fairy, in the animation, and it was just really giving this energy of like, this is what's real. This animation, that world, that is what is real. And one of the phrases that came through was, it was all a dream, but you were never asleep. Okay, and it was this, also I got, waking dreams, and then this kind of connection of life and death, and almost like, this, almost like the beginning of the vision, so to speak, was like kind of like this birth, and we go into this animation, and then the end of it was almost like like death. And so it was like the real life was the animation. And I just find that just really interesting, and just so contrasting with like how it would be perceived, which was like, well, no, the real life was just like the ballerina in the box, and it was just a dream, that other stuff. And you know, and then it's death, or back, you know, back to this other reality, this, you know, and going to sleep, and yeah, it's just like, and then I got balancing brain chemistry as well. Interesting. But yeah, there's an invitation here, is what I was really getting, and really, again, that it was all a dream, but you were never asleep. And so we're gonna dive into that, and it's a really beautiful anchor for the whole message. Well, yes, we'll dive deeper. So let's actually go ahead and get started. All right. Just sit for one moment to transition and see if there's anything else that I want to say to you around that, or speak to you about it. Again, possibility. We're gonna get into this possibility and belief a lot here. Yeah, this invitation to another world. So, all right. The first question in the spread is, what energy surrounds me? And we pull a 4 of swords. Okay, what energy surrounds me? And we pull a 4 of swords. And this is the card of rest, actually. And before I had looked at that, I'm like, wow, yeah, this seems like very sleepy, dreamy, a resting state. And yeah, so this is the card of rest. And I wrote the word possibility. I think the word possibility came out just like instinctually, like really strong with this card. And I love that, considering the channeled message. You know, we've got this rest and this sleepiness and this dream state. And the poem that went along with this card says, powdered hops gift restful slumber, calming thoughts as one dives under. Dreams come quick with Valerian sleep, offers eventide visions to keep. I'll read it again. Powdered hops gift restful slumber, calming thoughts as one dives under. Dreams come quick with Valerian sleep, offers eventide visions to keep. Eventide visions to keep. And so immediately for me, off of that, I got your living dreams arise with rest. I got your living dreams arise with rest. Okay, this card also represents a peaceful mind. All right, again, I get the energy of belief. And Sasha writes, a sense of peace has been cultivated. Okay, and we've got a perfect slumber here. All right, and so with it being the 4 of swords, okay, 4s are stability, swords are mental structure, perception, reality, truth, logic, conflict, okay, and so the combination there is we've got a stabilization, right, of truth, of a mental structure, of a perception. And so what came to me strong with this was the ability to believe and faith restored. All right, and so that this rest, all right, there's nervous system rest here. There's the notion, Sasha writes, that rest is not avoidance when it restores life. Okay, going back to the question of what energy surrounds me, again, I get strong possibility. And so we've got this energy of possibility, we've got a rest card, and that rest is going to nurture the possibility in your life. Okay, again, peaceful sleep. You know, maybe there's really a crossover here too with just, you know, outside of what it typically represents, but again, like questioning that mental structure around, like, well, how do I perceive reality, and what do I associate with dreams, and what is real? Okay, and I think there's an invitation here to cross over into another world and to expand, really deeply expand in a really grounded way, what is possible for your life. Okay, we're going to go into the second card, which is asking the question, what hidden truth is now revealed? What hidden truth is now revealed? And we get the 8 of Pentacles. Okay, we've got the 8 of Pentacles. Okay, and 8s are movement, and Pentacles are physical, like physical form, physical expression, how ideas become form. So with the 8 of Pentacles, we've got the movement of that physical expression, the movement of how ideas become form, which is beautiful on the back of this sleep, on the back of the dreams and the possibility and the wonder. All right, we've got now how this, what you're dreaming, how this can become form. and then I got another like, I do believe in fairies, I do kind of thing. Okay, and a big message with this card is repetition. All right, and it's just practical. All right, we've got from the soul lesson with the Eight of Pentacles is mastery is built through repetition, guided by meaning. Okay, do not lose this meaning here. All right, mastery is built through repetition, guided by meaning. This is devotion to craft, embodied practice. This is also the card of right work. All right, the spiritual initiation here is sanctifying craft and discipline. All right, and so it's like, okay, how do those dreams become reality? Really, it is as simple as repetition, and it's keeping doing it over and over. All right, and am I getting ahead of myself if I say this? Yeah, I might be. All right, no, actually I'm not. Okay, having it happen by doing a thing over and over. I think about like watching a movie, right? And like the only way to actually finish the movie is to watch it, right? Like if you stop it, you're not going to finish it, right? And so that's literally how you're going to be bringing these dreams into reality, is to just keep doing it. It's about that embodied practice, right? Finish the movie. Okay, and I'm actually going to read from the book for this one, just because it offers something really great here, I believe. All right, so again, Eight of Pentacles, the card of right work. All right, the poem, it starts, busy work, creative flow, life's a buzz when you flow. Wait, busy work, creative glow, life's a buzz when you flow. Heartfelt work comes on quick, know yourself, it does the trick. Okay, it says the Eight of Pentacles bursts with the sparkling sunlight and gorgeousness of a perfect midsummer afternoon. A gardener oversees an outdoor workspace. Vines and flora cascade down a pergola where she has placed handcrafted pentacle flower crowns. She displays her handiwork. Child apprentices work alongside her. A fairy looks over her shoulder. Another gazes up at the hanging crowns, and a third fairy sits contently with the young girl. I love this. We just had all this fairy stuff, right, in the channel message, and here we are, popping up again. All right. Time stops as all are engaged in a perfect state of flow. I love that, engaged, and it reminds me of just the engagement that I was in with that dancer, with that fairy in that dream, that animation. There was, oh, look at the squirrels. That is awesome. That is awesome. Oh, talk about engagement. Those two squirrels, that was super cool. I love that. Amazing. Oh, beautiful. Yes. All right, we're engaged, y'all. We're engaged, right? There's a partnership there with that, right? Like she was engaging me in the dance. Okay. Time stops as all are engaged in this perfect flow. They're engaged. They're having a good time. They're playing. You know, there's something here with that. All right. The Eight of Pentacles appears to reflect you performing. The Eight of Pentacles appears to reflect you performing work you love. All right, it is the card of craftsmanship and mastery. It marks displaying the work you do proudly for all to see. It is also sharing your gifts by mentoring others. It is passing art forms from one generation to the next. The fairies appear to represent the forces of nature working alongside of you. Talk about forces of nature, just saying. You know, you are in alignment and hard at work with what you love. The secret of this card is pleasure in one's work ethic. Again, we go back to that discipline, the repetition, okay, the embodied practice. In upright position, this card represents a safe space for work, delight in preparation, artisanship, commissions, and craftsmanship, taking pleasure in what you do, sharing gifts and techniques with others while proudly displaying your handiwork. All right, so again, this is part of the dream. This is the dream. This is what we're bringing in. This is energy of possibility. This is what we've got happening for us in Taurus season, okay? We're going to the next to the next level in whatever that means for you, you know, the next level in you know, we're stabilizing a mental structure here, okay? So we're looking into that possibility and that relief and that belief. And again, and perhaps there's a question here of, you know, like what do you need? What is required for you to keep moving forward in this? All right, to keep watching the movie, okay, to let it play out, you know, hang in there for the good stuff, right? All right, third pull, third card, we've got what adjustments can I make? What adjustments can I make? And we get a 9 of Pentacles reversed, okay? Just so you can see the upright, all right? But we've got her reversed, okay? I'm gonna keep it upright just so you see it, but it was pulled reversed, okay? And so with 9 of Pentacles, we've got 9s being the completion, and then again, we've got Pentacles being that physical form, physical expression, how thoughts become form, all right, how ideas become form. And so what that means is we've got the completion of the physical expression, the completion of thoughts becoming form. So I'd say that's a pretty perfect succession, all right? And with it being in reverse, what that is representing with this particular card is it is a difficulty saying yes to the dream. All right, it's a difficulty saying yes to this, okay? And that difficulty of accepting and receiving it is keeping it at bay, okay? This is the card of pleasure, all right? The 9 of Pentacles is the card of pleasure. And Sasha writes, the glass of wine shows that what you work at should be enjoyed. What you work at should be enjoyed. Amazing, considering the card right before this as the 8 of Pentacles was right work, all right? It's okay to enjoy your work. Again, we're talking about pleasure here. I mean, hello, Taurus, right? We're in Taurus season, and Taurus is all about the sensuality, the pleasure, beauty, and feeling, and physicality, all right? So there's an invitation here to allow yourself to go deeper in pleasure, to allow yourself to enjoy the work that you do, okay? It's okay to do work that you love, all right? Sasha writes that the secret of the 9 of Pentacles is knowing who you are. I find that also interesting, considering what we also just read about the 8 of Pentacles, which said in the poem, know yourself, it does the trick. Interesting. All right, so there's a lot here around knowing yourself, all right, and knowing who you are. And so maybe there's an invitation for a deeper level of honesty around what it is you really love to do, acknowledging that, allowing yourself to move forward in that and be okay with that. And in whatever iteration, whether that's just doing a little bit here and there on the side or diving all in, whatever that is for you, I trust you'll know the moment and what this is speaking to and how it's resonating for you. But there's something too about really knowing yourself and knowing the truth about yourself, the truth of who you are, and embracing that and honoring that. And like, that's the key here, that's the trick, and moving forward in that. And just saying yes, it's like an all in, okay? It's an all in. And so when we go back to the question of what adjustments can I make? A few questions that came to mind were, can you do more of what you love? In some form or fashion, can you do more of what you love? Ask yourself, why don't I feel allowed to do the work I love to do? Or why don't I feel allowed to do more of what I love? You know, what holds me back from saying yes to my dream, from saying yes to work I love, from saying yes to just what I love, and from accepting that? What's holding me back from that? You know, what prevents me from working on my craft? What prevents me from honing in on that pleasure and the pleasure I get from working on my craft? Okay, what feelings arise when I imagine my dreams coming true? What feelings come up with that? You know, what scares me most? All right, these are questions to ask. You know yourself. Know what's really coming up, right? Because I feel like most often, like when we have a hard time accepting or receiving or allowing ourselves that pleasure or moving forward, there's a narrative there, right? There's a narrative, and there's feelings that are uncomfortable and that we want to avoid. I feel oftentimes there's forms of guilt and shame that come up with this idea of pleasure and allowing ourselves to move in those ways and to embrace what we love to do and the work that we love to do. And so I invite you to explore that. And maybe it's a nice journal prompt of like, what feelings arise for me when I imagine this? What am I feeling? You know, and then to, okay, like, and why, what's going on there? Just to keep exploring that and really get to the root of it, so you can start uncovering this, and maybe you already know, but to dive a little bit deeper so you can actually like move into this pleasure. All right, it's Taurus season, baby. Yo, I'm a Taurus. This is my season. Enough said. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying about it. Taurus through and through. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. The next question, how can I indulge? How can I indulge? Like I said, we're in Taurus season, baby. And we pull a 9 of Swords. All right, we pull a 9 of Swords. So again, we combine, what is that? That's going to be the completion of a mental structure, the completion of a thought pattern, the completion of a truth, all right? Completion of a perception of reality. And just immediately with this card, without even going like really like into all that stuff, what that signals to me with this question of how can I indulge, you know, and again, completing something, it's indulging in the dream. Okay, it's indulge in the dream, indulge in believability, indulge in the what if, the positive what if. What if this happens? Indulge in that. And we're turning the what if into what is. Okay, we're going from what if to what is, and allow yourself that. Say yes to that. Let's commit to that. Okay, and kind of the invite I extend to you is, what if you gave yourself 30 days to just fully indulge in this dream, in this possibility, in this energy of belief? Okay, what would that mean for you? What would it look like? And if 30 days is like too much, whether it's like, okay, 2 weeks or like this 1 week, at minimum, let's do 3 days, like 3 solid days of it. But I really encourage the week or two, and if you can do a 30-day indulgence belief into that possibility, like, I'd be so curious as to what could happen for you. You know, what would you say? How would you move in the world? What would you do? How would you engage? You know, what decisions would you make? If you said, you know what, okay, I'm given 30 days and I'm gonna pour into this in ways that I haven't, like, I'm gonna do the thing, you know, because what if, and now it's gonna be what is. It's what is for 30 days, all right? And what does that mean for you? Okay, so again, I go back to Taurus season. Tauruses love to indulge. We really do. We love that sensuality and that pleasure, you know, that deep connection, you know, deep connection to the physicality of the physical world, pleasure and beauty, all right? We are ruled by Venus, all right? And that is the planet of sensuality, okay? And looking aspects of this up, one of the lines that struck me, it said, you know, it's grounded and it's tactile. All right, when I added sexy, I'm just gonna say it's grounded, sexy, and tactile, because we're in Taurus season, baby, so I'm gonna say it. All right, we've got an appreciation for the finer things. And so I do feel Taurus season is inviting you here to indulge in your dream. All right, to indulge in the possibility, and remember pleasure. All right, we pulled the card of pleasure here, and that pleasure was associated with completion, right? So there's something there with that. Okay, and maybe you can ask yourself, how can I indulge? What does that mean? I know it's indulge, it seems all old, you know, especially if we've got some like super religious-y stuff tied up in there, right? We get trained away from our body. We get trained away from our truth, from what we can feel, right? I think most of us can, I've said this before, you know, balance, right? We know balance. We know if you eat too much chocolate cake, you're gonna get sick, right? Like there's a way to indulge in a very sensual, sexy, pleasure balanced way to really enjoy. And if that's stuff that's coming up for you, that might be where to take a look at that, you know. And I know it takes deep work, to move through a lot of former ways of thinking and feeling, and a lot of different paradigms that are out there, and that can be scary, yes, right? And I don't advise moving beyond where you are with that. I never advise going against your own conscience, right? Like it doesn't work to go beyond where you are. It just gets all messy, and you don't really get to receive it and experience it really in the way that you deserve to. And so, you know, yeah, there's deep stuff here. I'm trying not to get on my soapbox about how that just gets tied back to the oppression of women and witches and knowledge and all this stuff. I'm just saying, suppression of all the things. You guys know, what's up. All right, moving on before they come after me. Okay, so how should I protect myself? Question 5, how should I protect myself? Great question. All right, and we pull a 2 of Swords in reverse. Okay, we got a 2 of Swords in reverse. 2s are polarity. All right, we've already got Swords with that mental structure and perception and thoughts and all that jazz and reality, logic, truth. Okay, and in reverse, Sasha writes, a decision, truth, or no, wait. Is this Sasha's? This might be my other source, so hold on. Okay, so a decision, truth, or tension can no longer be kept outside of awareness. Yeah, I don't think that was from Sasha. A decision, truth, or tension can no longer be kept outside of awareness, which to me meant like, okay, now you know and act on it, right? Like you're aware, like again, knowing who you are, right? And the decision, if you're making a decision to go in, right, for these 30 days or for a couple weeks or a week, for a few days, whatever that is for you, right, let's act on it. And if we go back to like that channeled message, right, around like, you know, this notion that the animation really was the real life, right? The animation was the real life. Okay, and what does that mean now that you know that, right? What would that mean for you if you know that the animation is the real life? Okay, and that's what's there for you, and this other stuff is just kind of like death waiting, you know? The animation is what's true. Okay, and so I wrote, let's see, during this time of dream building and indulgence, protect yourself from the naysayers. Okay, share only with those who believe like you do, who are gonna believe with you and support you. I think protecting that at this time is really important. Okay, no more division, no more inner discord. All right, Sasha writes, the secret of this card is how to raise protective shields. Perfect. All right, you know, considering especially like we get the question is, how do I protect myself? And we pull this card on how to raise protective shields. All right, and given again that it's about polarity, right, like and mental structure, we're gonna eliminate some of that like back and forth. We're all in for a time. Okay, we're gonna eliminate some of that doubt. We're gonna be in that possibility. All right, Sasha writes, the 2 of Swords is the private contemplation of the self. Okay, so other messages that come through with this card as written by Sasha, and I kind of put some of my own spin to it ever so slightly, all right, and mostly it's her though. So heed the inner voice. All right, actually this is all her. I might have just like paraphrased ever so like slightly. Heed the inner voice. The advice of others is unneeded. Okay, do not let others determine what is best for you. All right, go within. These are choices only you can make. All right, eliminate distraction. Step away from others. Let go of what others think. Okay, and protect the heart. All right, so this is your shield of protection, and a lot of that is the company you keep, all right, and who you're sharing what with. Okay, around your dreams, around this work, around that pleasure, and perhaps even it's even in its sharing, indulging maybe even a little bit in that with people who vibe with you in it, right? Who really, and make sure you trust that. Make sure you trust them. And you know, in our last reading, we got like, there's some new folks around you that are good vibes, right? And so maybe like there's some like newer folks in your experience that like really connecting around this stuff with, you know, maybe they're living this way. Like maybe some folks in your experience are really living that dream, you know, and those are your people to connect with and really protect it from folks who aren't gonna share that. And we know, we get the vibe, and pay attention to who you find yourself really wanting to share with in a way that's like where you're wanting a specific type of response from them, and maybe you're wanting their belief. We're not doing that. Nope. When that kind of like need for a certain reaction from a person is coming in, we're going to stay clear of all that. We're not going into that at all. We're going to keep that to ourselves. And we're just gonna keep leaning into that possibility. And maybe for some it really is, we don't really get anyone else involved at all, and maybe we don't talk about it too much, but we just lean into it for ourselves, right? So if support is helpful, we're choosing the right people for that. If it's not needed, we're just gonna, right, we're gonna do this private contemplation of the self. And that's what I have for y'all today, right? That's it. There's a lot of knowing ourselves, you know. Maybe, I know Disney movies are rather problematic. I won't go into all of that, right? But you know, for the purposes of this, you know, there's something around that childlike wonder and joy, right? And the messages that are constantly given to us, at least, you know, in the movies, around getting back to that, right? I feel like they're, you know, they're really for adults to watch with the kids and remember and wake us back up to the dream. To remember that the dream is the waking state, right? What was that? You were dreaming, but you were never asleep. Is that what it was all a dream, but you were never asleep. So let's be present to the dream, yeah? Let's be present to it. Let's live the dream wide awake. Let's do it. All right, I believe in you. I'm excited for you. It's Taurus season, baby. Soak it up. Indulge in your yeses and in your pleasure and in what you love and in your right work, okay? You've got it. Repetition. Keep going. Finish the movie. All right, finish the movie. Keep watching. Get to the good stuff. All right, I am here for you to help you and assist you and support you in all the ways I can be. And I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Over and out.